Hi everyone, welcome to On the Other Hand. I'm Ariane Zurcher, and this is going to be a process video. So really working through the different issues that I'm facing. You'll see how in the beginning I'm dealing with my workspace, which is small. So how do you work with something that's growing and growing, like the plant in the Little Shop of Horrors? And then how do you contain it? How do you work anyway? So I'll show you some of the things that I'm doing to try to work with within a limited space. That's something that's quite a bit bigger. And I think probably some of you can relate. Tell me about your workspace. What are you working with? What are you dealing with? How big is it? I'm very lucky. I have a room, which, you know, especially in New York City is like, you know, a room of my own. Am I at the halfway point? I don't know. I'm trying to just, you know, take it one step at a time. I also received an order from Stef Francis. I just love the things at Stef Francis. So I'll show you a quick little clip of me unpacking my goodies, and a lot of it is for the black and white piece, honestly, but there are some fabulous little things in there that I'm going to be incorporating on this vessel. Just as I was shooting this video, I turned around to show you some of the things from my Stef Francis stash, which are these fabulous carrier rods. I've never used them before, but I'm really excited. This is the pink. I also got some in just natural. As I turned around, I spilled this glass, which thankfully only had a little bit of water left because I drunk all the rest of it. Drink your water. Don't have a glass by your work table. This is why I always have a bottle. What was I thinking? So then I had to run and pick up paper towels. Always have paper towels by your workplace. I know this. Lesson learned. Bottle next to your workplace, not a glass. Keep a thing of paper towels nearby. Luckily, it was water, not coffee or tea, or could have been much, much worse. Anyway, carrier rods. Stef Francis, how fabulous are these colors? I love them. They go from magenta, really, really pink, 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 to this kind of salmon to light pink. They're gorgeous. Can't wait to incorporate these. I haven't figured out how, but I'm going to. At the end of the video, I've got some video of Loki, who is just adorable, and whom I get to babysit in November. I'm just thrilled, like, you know, just thrilled for, I think, 5 days. I'm so excited. Great, I'll turn you around and we'll get started. It's an exciting moment. This is an order from Stef Francis. I bought a whole bunch of stuff that's in natural because I wanted it for my big piece, my big black and white piece. So I've got a whole bunch of bark, which I love. Love this stuff. How cool is that? That's going to be great. Okay, there's that. I got some of their wool. I love their wool. I love the different colorways. I got these. These are carrier rods. I've never heard of them or seen, I mean, I guess I've seen them used, but I thought this would be cool on my piece, my big piece, right? To, I think I can even detach this. So it's kind of like, yeah, I think that's going to work. I can stitch this down. I could paint on these. Those are cool. Then I got some, this is the silk throaster, which I love. And I wanted it in white, again, for my big piece. But again, I'm thinking for this big piece, I'm going to put a photo of it so that I'm not continually just calling it this big piece, and you'll know, the black and white. And then this is a whole bunch of different natural, like this is the sari This is the natural silk sari cord. This is the spun silk, pearl 5. Oh, and then this is the sari. How cool is that? So I've got lots to play with here. How exciting. When I was stitching in that other video, I wasn't really thinking about how I really liked that bit sticking out, and so it just got tucked under somehow, and I'm okay with that. But there is a hole here where the materials aren't meeting, so I can do a couple of different things. I could stick something back here, I could ignore it, I could put throster. I've got plenty that I could just punch in this color, which is a little not really the right color, or I have this color, which is not really right either. Okay. Okay, maybe this isn't such a good idea. Oh, here, I've got this one. This color, I could punch this in here, right here, just to fill in that area. And then I was thinking, once I do that, I could then use this, maybe. I mentioned before, this was a piece that I'd cut out for my big project that I started and later finished in New York, but that I started at my artist residency in outside of Paris. So I don't know if I want to do that. I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to, this little guy, Wool Buddy. I love this guy. A little Wool Buddy. So I'm going to stick him under there. And I'm just going to put him under the area. And then I'm going to take out my silk throster from Stef Francis. And I'm just going to put a little bit here. That's where it is. It can just kind of, well, now I'm going to end up covering this whole thing. That, you know what, that's fine. This is how ideas evolve. We just go with it. So I'm going to, I don't want to get in too close because that's when I get into trouble. But I do want this sort of coming off like that. Okay, and then I think, I'm gonna pull this off. I think I kind of like the idea of this moving like this. Maybe kind of going off here. Okay, so that's good, and I'm gonna carefully peel this off, and then I can do some stitching in here. I think I'll do some seed stitches here. So I'm just going to keep going here. And just kind of add a little blue in here so that it's all part of the piece, you know, part of the blue path. So it's not just sort of randomly, you know, so it kind of makes sense, I hope. I'll take a look and see what this looks like after I finished this thread. I don't have to do the whole thing. I can just, you know, you get the idea. All right, so I have added a whole lot of stuff, and I have a lot more to do, but little by little, it's kind of coming together. So I'm just gonna kind of scan over everything. And then I'll put it, try to clear the desk away enough that I can take a flat, you know, a photo so that you can kind of see if I can do this. Yeah, it still doesn't fully show. Well, that's kind of, I mean, you kind of get it, right? So as I'm looking at it, this whole area needs to be filled in. I need to add some more height, and it needs to start decreasing. I think I'm going to do something here where I fill in this turquoise so that it's not quite so abrupt. But otherwise, I think it's looking okay. Here's my little fringy stuff. Someone said wet it and then, you know, like pull it. So I did that. It seems to work nicely. Yeah, I'm going to keep going. So I've added this, and I did the throw-stir, and this is my plastic bag that I kind of did, and I added this to sort of make the eye look like this is kind of finished. And I don't know about this. I kind of like it because it's just so weird. So I'm not going to do anything until, you know, I'm going to keep moving on, working on other parts. Okay. So I'm working on this little circle here, and I have this idea of sort of putting a kind of fringe from this burlap. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to, because I kind of want this to, let's see, I want it to kind of go around this. So if I think if I cut this in a kind of arc, I can pull it even further around. So that's kind of what I'm going to do. I'll make it a little bigger than I think I need. And let's see what happens. Because I want it to Yeah, go around like that. Exactly. So I'm going to stitch that down. And I think I'll use, this was the one that I was looking for. It's a little greener, but that's okay. I like it. This is actually coming off of this skein. But I just wanted to get the green, it goes into quite a green blue. The other thing I'm thinking of using is this. It's the carrier rod from Stef Francis that I got. And I really love this. And I was thinking it would be fun to stitch it down and then let it kind of curl. And you can, move it. And then this is a piece of linen from one of Pat Polly's linen prints that I love her stuff. So I was thinking that might be nice somewhere over here where I'm starting to try to bring in the blues, because remember, this is going to be attached, so this orange is now going to get attached to this blue-green over on the other side eventually. And then I need to start decreasing my top, because I want a couple more inches in height, and then I'm going to begin decreasing. Okay, so I'm going to go in here. This actually isn't even going to show. That's okay. But I do want to get it stitched down. I have to use my little pliers. And then I want to pull this around like that. So that means, if you can kind of see what I'm doing here. I'm just tacking it down. I'm not worrying about, because the button's going to cover it. Every time I get impatient, because I have a little bit of a deadline that I had put in place for myself, which was I wanted this to be finished before we left, and we're leaving on the 30th. And every time I start to feel like, oh, I really need to hurry up, I tell myself, slow down, it's all good, it doesn't have to be finished. That's an arbitrary date that you've set for yourself. Wouldn't it be great if it was finished at that point? But it doesn't by any means need to be. That's just a deadline I have imposed. All right. So I think, yeah, I like that. If I want to manipulate this, I can. I can just go in here and tweak it, which I think I'll do. Because I don't want that splaying out or falling off, so I'm just going to tack it down. Right there. And I want these here, this one and this one, to stay down. So I'm going to tack those down as well. And I can kind of manipulate all of these at the same time. So this, I need to come over here. we go. That's good. Yeah. All right, so now I'm not finished with this. I have more things I want to do in here. All right, I have cut away this part. I'm going to cut away this part, and I'm actually going to undo this stitching here. I've added this piece here, and I'm going to attach this, and then I'm going to figure out what I'm up to. So I just thought I'd show you how I'm working, because I know some of you are working on pretty small spaces, and I'm very appreciative and lucky to have any space at all. But and I've got, it's a big table. It's but it's narrow, but it's long. So I've got, and of course organization would probably help with the whole space management. But this is how I've got it sort of, this thing has become unwieldy, it's growing, and I gotta start reducing. So at this point, I'm adding on here. I need to add, this part here, and then I've got to start, I'm at the point where I need to start making the whole thing, go in. But yeah, it continues, and it's cool. I'm glad I cut that part off and just kept this part of the collage, the paper collage. It wasn't working for me, so I just chopped it off. I added this, which I really like. These are all Pat Polly's fabrics. She dyes linens, and they're just beautiful, beautiful linens. She also dyes cottons, which are beautiful, but she uses a Pima cotton, which is a little bit hard to stitch through. So, and this is Stef Francis's wool, which I just adore. Just love, love, love. I might be adding some burlap or something, I don't know, in here, but I'm taking it as it comes. I'm trying not to get ahead of myself. So little bit at little bit, little bit. And so I'm going to stitch this piece in here. I'm going to stitch this, and then I'll figure out what I'm doing here. I kind of like the idea of adding some of these circles somewhere, because they kind of go with those circles. Maybe I even put it in like that kind of thing. I don't know. It depends on what I add up here. That's where I'm at. One of the things I've done is I've got a cutting board, and I've put it on an ironing table so that I can kind of better spread out, because if I go over to my desk, I just don't have the room here that I have over on the ironing table. So that's one way. And then the other way is just to put it on the floor, which is a little bit uncomfortable for me, crouching down, or I sit on the floor, and I do that too. But yeah, I kind of prefer being up here. It's a little more comfortable.
Look, you play with anything.